Well, we are officially 3 weeks away from the 2022 midterm elections.
As we near closer to Election Day, more candidates are facing off on the debate stage. Two major races took center stage Monday night. In Georgia, incumbent Republican Governor Brian Kemp faced his Democratic challenger Stacey Abrams. Candidates spent much of the night fighting over each other's political records, as one would expect.
And in the race for Ohio Senator, Democratic Congressman Tim Ryan and the Trump-backed Republican candidate J.D. Vance also met face-to-face. Vance took hits at policies Ryan has supported as a congressman, while Ryan took jabs on Vance's relationship with the former president. They also took on other hot topics, such as abortion.
It's tragic. And J.D. and his extreme crew, they want to have a national abortion ban. They're not happy with people having to go to Illinois. They want people to get a passport and have to go to Canada. Largest governmental overreach in the history of our lifetime.
That little girl was raped by an illegal immigrant, and both the media and Tim Ryan need to be honest about the fact that she would never have been raped in the first place if Tim Ryan had done his job on border security.
Look, I support safety and justice, but Ms. Abrams refused to answer the question, so I'll let you know that the answer is zero. No sheriffs are endorsing her statewide because of her stances on wanting to defund the police.
If I may respond, because he actually lied there.
Yes, 30
I do
seconds.
have the support of sheriffs, but unlike Mr. Kemp, I do not make it my plan to list every person who supports me. I have the support of sheriffs, I have the support of advocates, I have the support of victims.
Wow, CBS News political director Finn Gomez joins us now for more. Finn, you heard Abrams saying he lied there. We heard J.D. Vance saying that little girl wouldn't have been raped if not for Ryan's policies. It's all a lot, and there's more debates going on tonight even. Yeah. Let's start in Ohio. Tim Ryan, J.D. Vance, January 6th, and former President Trump really came up a few times, in addition to that incendiary allegation that we heard. How big of a role does the former president have in this race, and what do you make of the tone that we heard from candidates?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Yeah, fireworks were expected, and fireworks went off between these two candidates vying for the seat in one of the country's closest Senate races. As you mentioned, it was a feisty showdown last night where the two Ohioans, Democrat Congressman Tim Ryan and Republican J.D. Vance, hit each other on everything from abortion rights, immigration, border security, and the economy, where the blue-collar vote, especially that demographic, is so important in Ohio. But for the second straight debate, the most memorable exchanges were over Donald Trump. As you know, Ryan went after the Trump endorsed Vance for being too close to the former president. Vance responded by linking Ryan over and over and over again last night to Speaker Nancy Pelosi, saying that the Democrat who has been running essentially as an independent, a moderate in Ohio, really has a voting record, according to him, that's in line with Speaker Pelosi and Democratic leadership. You saw that all night, and although and Vance repeated that line, Ryan votes with her 100% of the time. And it's about these relationships. It's about the relationship with Trump for Vance, and it's about the relationship that Ryan has with President Joe Biden and Speaker Pelosi and Democratic leadership that just really was like a defining line in last night's debate.
Finn, in Ohio, it's one of those places where the Democratic candidate does not want to stay very close to the party. And it seems like, moving on to Georgia, again, presidential relations are front and center with Brian Kemp calling out Stacey Abrams for, being too connected with the president on his policies. We keep hearing this from Republicans all across the board, across the country, saying so-and-so votes along with the Democrats or with the president 95% of the time or 90% of the time. Abrams really needed to do well in this debate. She, according to our CBS News polls, has been trailing Kemp. What were some of your takeaways from this debate? What stood out?
You're right, Lilia. Great question. Also, about the many Democrats in these battleground states have been sort of steering away from President Biden. He has low approval ratings right now, and historically, the president in power loses seats in the Congress. That's happened over many midterm cycles. But last night, in this heated rematch from 2018, when these two candidates went head to head during that midterm cycle, in this one, As you mentioned, Kemp has been essentially up on Abrams for most of the midterm cycle. But last night it was a very heated debate. Kemp focused primarily on his record and the fact that unlike other battleground states, the economy is doing pretty well actually in Georgia, which he said was a result of his economic policies. Abrams hit Kemp on the rising crime in Georgia, on gun violence during his tenure, and that not everything is great for all Georgians on the economic front, and house rising going to places that some can't afford. Kemp stayed on message, returning to his efforts to reopen business during the pandemic and restart the local economy. But the gun policy exchange was also a key moment, Lilia, with Abrams criticizing Kemp for signing a law earlier this year that allows almost everybody in the state to carry a firearm without a license. So it was a lot of hits.
And he pushed back on that, too. I mean, one thing that I thought was interesting, Finn, is that it seems like the roles were reversed in terms of the conversations that have been happening between Democrats and Republicans. You're used to Republicans talking about crime and talking about the economy and talking about, guns, especially in places like Texas. But in this case, it is the Democratic candidate that's saying, no, crime is on you because you're the governor.
You're the governor. It's and it's your policies, and that's what she said. And you're in essence, you're responsible, and because you're the leader, and that's what incumbents have to deal with, especially with the rise in crime across the country, but also in the Peach State, where you're seeing that as a real campaign issue with just 21 days until the election.
And more interesting debates happening tonight, in particular Florida, between some well-known names in the race for senator, incumbent Marco Rubio, Democratic Representative Val Demings. Finn, what are you going to be watching for?
Well, Florida is such a crucial battleground state, not only during the midterms, but obviously during the presidential cycles. This race specifically has been more competitive than people initially thought. Demings has outraised, of course, she's the Democrat, has outraised Rubio, and has made this a really competitive state where a lot of people did not expect that, and Republicans had to, invest in this state where they thought was pretty safe. But recently, the momentum has been gone back to Rubio a little bit, and he's been up ahead on the polls in recent polls. But we are seeing that in this debate, it will likely just be as heated as we've seen in all these debates prior to this. And a lot of the key issues, including the economy, including gas prices, and the President Biden effect, and the former President Trump effect on Rubio, I think those will come up tonight, and it's something that, again, it's a key race, and we'll all be watching this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That DeSantis-Trump comparison this morning on the Times was very interesting. Finn, I could do this all day with you. I'll probably call you during the break to keep talking about
Nevada.
This. Yes, we are talking about
we're going to
Nevada.
be very interested.
Flying tonight. Talk soon.
Thanks, guys.